Have you ever imagined what one of the most revered figures of the 20th century, globally known for her compassion and dedication to the needy, might reveal in her final moments? Mother Teresa, considered a saint by many, broke her silence before her death and shared a secret that left the world stunned. But what could be so impactful as to shake the global perception of this iconic woman? Today, we will unravel this surprising story and reveal the mystery that Mother Teresa shared in her final days. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any incredible content coming your way. I know you're going to love what we have prepared for today, so let's get started. Don't waste any time, the video starts now. Born as Angeze Gongshe Boyakshiu on August 26, 1910, in the city of Skopje, in what is now North Macedonia, Mother Teresa became one of the most admired figures of the 20th century. From a very young age, she felt a deep calling to religious life. At 18, she left her family and joined the Sisters of Loreto, an Irish religious order active in India. After a period of training in Ireland, she arrived in Calcutta in 1929, where she took her perpetual vows and adopted the name Teresa, in honor of Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux. During the first decades of her religious life, Mother Teresa worked as a teacher at St. Mary's School, a school run by the Sisters of Loreto for girls from wealthy families. However, the extreme poverty and suffering she witnessed daily on the streets of Calcutta deeply affected her. In 1946, during a train journey to Darjeeling, Mother Teresa experienced what she described as a call within a call. She felt that God was asking her to leave the safety of the convent and dedicate herself entirely to the poorest of the poor. With the Vatican's permission, Mother Teresa left the congregation in 1948 and began her new mission. Wearing a simple white sari with blue borders, which would become her trademark, she devoted herself to caring for the most needy. Initially, she tended to the dying, cleaned their wounds, and offered comfort in their final moments. She transformed an abandoned building into a shelter, the home of peace and hope, where the sick received dignified and loving care. The impact of Mother Teresa's work was immediate. In 1950, she founded the Missionaries of Charity, an order dedicated to helping the hungry, the homeless, the sick, and all those marginalized by society. Under her leadership, the congregation grew rapidly, expanding to over 130 countries and establishing hundreds of assistance centers. Mother Teresa became a living symbol of love and compassion in action. Global recognition came in 1979 when she received the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless humanitarian work. Her commitment went beyond direct care for the needy. She also became a passionate advocate for peace and human rights, promoting compassion as a path to a more just world. Among her most notable achievements were the founding of orphanages, leper colonies, and rehabilitation centers for drug addicts and people living with HIV and AIDS. In 1955, she established the first orphanage, Shishu Bhavan, which housed abandoned children, offering them a safe and loving environment. Additionally, she created the City of Peace, a colony where lepers rejected by society could live with dignity and learn skills that would grant them independence. Mother Teresa's impact was global. Under her guidance, the Missionaries of Charity grew to include over 4,000 sisters and hundreds of volunteers, managing homes for the terminally ill, feeding programs, and shelters for the homeless in various parts of the world. Her vision of selfless service inspired countless people to follow her example. In her speech upon receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, Mother Teresa emphasized the importance of love and kindness as essential elements for achieving true world peace. For her, small acts of love could transform the world. After her death in 1997, her legacy was officially recognized by the Catholic Church, which canonized her as Saint Teresa of Calcutta in 2016. However, perhaps her greatest legacy lies not only in her actions, but in how she touched and inspired millions of people around the world to practice unconditional love and service. Mother Teresa remains a beacon of hope and compassion, reminding us that even in the face of great difficulties, there is always room for good. The missionaries of charity continue to expand their work, perpetuating Mother Teresa's vision of a world where every human being is treated with dignity and compassion. In the final years of her life, her health deteriorated significantly, but her determination to serve the poorest and most needy remained unwavering. In her later years, Mother Teresa faced a series of serious health problems, including heart disease, pneumonia, and malaria. In 1983, during a visit to Pope John Paul II, she suffered a heart attack, an event that could have forced her to reduce her workload. However, even after this scare, her dedication remained intact, leading her to continue her mission tirelessly. In 1989, a second heart attack led doctors to implant a pacemaker to stabilize her heart. Despite increasing complications, Mother Teresa did not step away from her daily activities, continuing to travel the world and inspire multitudes. 2 years later, during a visit to Mexico, she contracted pneumonia, further worsening her heart problems. Even in the face of medical advice to slow down, she persisted in her journey, driven by an unshakable devotion to the destitute. However, her advancing age and worsening physical condition forced her to consider stepping down from leading the missionaries of charity. In 1990, she decided to resign as the order's superior. However, the sisters of the congregation unanimously voted for her to remain as leader, and Mother Teresa agreed to continue despite her growing difficulties. During this period, her spiritual life was also marked by a deep and ongoing sense of darkness and desolation. Personal letters, revealed only after her death, exposed an internal battle that lasted for nearly 5 decades. In these writings, Mother Teresa confessed to having lived through an intense dark night of the soul, a period of spiritual desert where she felt abandoned by God. This inner anguish contrasted with her public image of unshakable faith, revealing a woman who, despite her pain and doubts, persisted in her mission with impressive strength. In the final years of her life, Mother Teresa remained an inspiring figure on a global scale, receiving numerous honors and awards. In 1996, her health deteriorated to the point of requiring multiple hospitalizations. Still, she attended important events and oversaw the opening of new missionaries of charity homes around the world. Her weakened body did not diminish her impact. Her presence continued to motivate and inspire those who followed her. In March 1997, she formally resigned as the order's superior and was succeeded by Sister Nirmala Joshi. Even away from leadership, Mother Teresa continued to guide the congregation whenever possible. In the last months of her life, she focused even more on prayer and spiritual preparation for her passing. Mother Teresa passed away on September 5, 1997, in Calcutta, leaving behind a monumental legacy of love, compassion, and service to others. Her funeral brought together religious and political leaders from around the world, who paid tribute to this woman whose life was a symbol of dedication to the most needy. However, a posthumous revelation surprised everyone and challenged the image of absolute faith that many had of her. In letters written over decades and addressed to her confessors and spiritual superiors, Mother Teresa exposed a profound crisis of faith that spanned much of her life. These letters revealed that, for most of her missionary journey, Mother Teresa experienced an overwhelming spiritual emptiness. She felt distant from God and tormented by doubts, describing her pain in intense and anguished words. In one of her writings, she even questioned, "Where is my faith?" Even deep down, there is nothing but emptiness and darkness. These words reveal a deeply human woman, whose inner battle was as grand as her external work. What is most striking is that this spiritual crisis began shortly after her call within a call in 1946, when she decided to leave convent life to dedicate herself to the poor of Calcutta. During the decades she spent caring for the most needy, Mother Teresa lived a painful contradiction. While she was the voice of God for others, she felt his absence in her own life. This dichotomy between her external mission and her internal suffering made her spiritual journey even more complex and touching. The revelations in these letters surprised many, as Mother Teresa was seen as an example of unshakable faith. However, far from diminishing her greatness, these writings humanize her even more. Her story is not just that of a saintly woman, but of a soul who, despite doubts and darkness, chose to persevere. Mother Teresa left a legacy of love and compassion that transcends her own uncertainties and sufferings. Her final revelation does not weaken her message but strengthens it. True faith is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to move forward despite it. May we, like Mother Teresa, seek compassion and goodness, even in moments of darkness.